Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Great Awakening Generator with me, Rose, and Barb Starke. Hello, Barb. How are you today?
Hi, Rose. I'm well, thank you. Lovely to be here.
That's good. That's good to hear. So, we're doing our tapping techniques again today. And Barb, I think you wanted to make a disclaimer, right?
Oh, yes, just our standard disclaimer that with tapping, that if you're under the care of a doctor or specialist, you need to check with them before you decide to change or reduce any treatments.
Yeah, and this is not doesn't replace anything. It's complementary support that you could do for yourself, and obviously check with the doctor if you in doubt. So, what is our tapping technique for today?
Yes, today we're going to talk about tapping for your older child or your young adult. So from 10 years on, or depending on the maturity of the child, from 13 years on. So they're coming into their adulthood then, and they're dealing with a whole lot of emotions and body changes and self-reflection and analysis and trying to fit into society. So it can be a really big time for them. So for children of that age, we tap on the adult tapping points, the same. So side of the hand, and for us, top of the head.
Yeah.
The eyebrow point. The side of the eye. Under the eye. Under the nose. The chin point. The collarbone point. And then under the arm. If they want to, they can come back to the side of the hand. So it's the same with adults. You can teach them, your teenager or young adult, just to do that, just to sit and tap. And that'll help calm their system, or to tap and breathe. And that'll help calm their system. Again, the same as the younger children, they actually appreciate having a way to be able to manage those big emotions. Because, I mean, we can all remember being a teenager and, skyrocketing out of control and that sort of thing. So it's very empowering to be able to calm yourself and know that you can calm it. I mentioned as well, for the parents that are worried about their teenagers, we know, we just acknowledge and be honest that our kids are going through a lot. Especially in the past 3 years than any of us experienced in those times. And with the disruption in schooling, the masking, the social distancing and all of that, our kids are really coming at life with many more obstacles than we had to overcome. So a tool like tapping can just help them calm, give them, it empowers them and allows them to deal with their own things. So for our older child, it's still very important to speak to them, to use their words, to get where they're at, not to try to put our stuff onto them. We might be thinking they're behaving to something in a certain way for a certain reason, and actually it's something completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So for them, it's meeting them where they're at. And we can use tapping for so many different things. We can use it for behavioral issues. We can use it for hormonal ups and downs. We can use it for lack of energy, lack of enthusiasm. And then we can use it for goal setting. We can help our child pick a goal and then find out what the obstacles to achieving that goal are, and then use tapping to bring those obstacles down. We can use it, teenagers can use it to get into a calm state for teaching or for learning. We can use it for exam stress. We can use it for performance anxiety.
Yeah.
A nice tool to use for kids or the younger people is, we just call it complain and tap. So have a pity party and complain. So they could perhaps ring a friend, and while they're venting and saying about, such and such did this or this happened, or I'm feeling just this way, if they tap while they're talking and just get it all out of their system while they're tapping, that will help to release it and help to calm it down.
Yeah.
And also with our teenagers and our younger adults, they haven't got as much baggage as a 30 or 40-year-old, so they can also clear a lot more quickly. If you're dealing with big stuff, I would get them to a professional, either a professional EFT practitioner or another practitioner, tough practitioner that also does tapping, because you want to know that you can hold that space as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that you mentioned that, because we just want to remind everybody, you know, what we're talking about is very everyday thing, you know, everyday things, because if we start to do things that are really deep, then that's a private session. That's not something that you want to do and, you know, and something deep. So basically, because that's really about doing that in the privacy of a session rather than having this it public, and it's very personal, isn't it? So we're not talking about that, because it's doing these techniques that we're doing in on a so I don't even want to say surface level, because it's very valuable, whether it's generic or not. It's valuable what we're doing, but it does lead to other things. It can make you realize there's something below the surface that needs to be addressed, right? Because, well, we know that, you know, having had the experience myself. So yeah.
And sometimes for children, it's hard for them to vocalize that, or to be able to express or even realize what's underneath it. So that's when you can go into working abstractly. I think we've worked together abstractly, where whatever's going on, you give it an abstract shape or color and tap on that.
That's right. Yes.
You can work somatically.
Yes.
So like when you're feeling really angry like that, where do you feel that in your body? Oh, this knot in my stomach. So then you teach them to tap on that knot in their stomach, and that can help bring them down as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good plan, actually.
Yeah.
I think teenagers, you know, I'm thinking about it, and I feel like teenagers are a tough one, right? Because it's
hard
about
sell.
it's about, well, are they going to be open? Do they listen to what the parent says? Because they go through the phase where it's like kind of joke on us, right? Because they go through a phase where nothing a parent or anything a parent says, it's like they can't hear it, you know. So I just really feel for parents who, you know, have teenagers and have that kind of occurrence, because no matter how good your teenager is, at some point they will behave like that, even if it's for a short period, but they will behave like that. And it's just that ripping of the fabric of parent-child that's happening, isn't it? Oh,
that's right. And they get to that age where they're not going to appreciate anything that you try to teach them or help them with. And that's where you need to get outside help. That's where it's also, you know, it's almost good to get them tapping when they're younger, when they still think that you are godlike.
Yeah. That was what I was thinking when we started this. It has to start from younger. If you're going to get good results as a teenager, chances are you'd have, or chances of it going better, actually happening, is if it's technique you started using when they were younger. But that's not to say it won't work for teenagers anyway. It's not a given that, you know, remember I think today the teenagers that have come onto the planet now, those children that are teenagers now, like you're saying, they're unique in that the parents or the grandparents or whatever, have not had this experience of the last 3 years. And so they're unique in that way. And so I've met some incredible teenagers that are so mature and so with it, right? And so we can't say that all of them won't do this or they won't be open to it, because they're just a different generation.
And it is almost like just I mean, like I said, they feel empowered that they can help themselves. So selling them to them like that, or, you know, it's like, well, sweetie, why don't you just give this a go? You know, if they're really angry or really upset, just give it a go, just tap, and they can just sit and tap on one point. And then
I also feel like, from what you're saying, I keep feeling that, you know, people have, like the previous thing, a recording we did was for children up to 10 years, right? People who have neurodivergent, or children that have been deemed to be neurodivergent, this is such a helpful technique for them.
Well, yeah, and I like, on a show like this, I generally only talk about things that we've got the science behind. But in my own experience, I worked with an adult who had dyslexia.
Yes.
Or has dyslexia. And we tracked it back. And what happened is that when she first started reading, they used to sit on the floor and the teacher had the book in front of her, so it was upside down for my client. So she was reading upside down. And so,
Oh, wow.
and then so she can read perfectly upside down. So we did tapping on that, and then the way that she felt, you know, when the book was up the right way and how the letters got jumbled in that. And we cleared all of that for her.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she has taught herself to read. So I can't say that, yeah. So
Wow.
it can work.
Wow.
That's one off, and I can't make any claims, but I know that that happened for that client.
Yeah.
So it can be
Wow.
all sorts of things behind all sorts of things.
Yeah. And it's interesting, right? The dyslexia, is it really there then when you think about it?
Well, I can't go. Yeah, I can't.
You know what I
comment
mean?
on it.
Because if you think about what you, I'm not saying I'm also,
Oh,
you
for
know,
her, for that
yeah,
client.
yeah. Because like I'm speaking about her in particular, like, you know,
Mm.
with the experience she's had with learning to read, like how, you know, question mark is what I mean. Can't even
Yes.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Question mark
And
about, is the dyslexia really there, or is it just, well, I was taught to learn to read, and this is the way the writing was.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Who
Who
knows?
knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting. So
Yeah. So, yeah, again, self-care, and just to mention for parents too, because I know I'm working with a lot of people that are worried about their children. And I mentioned it before, that worry about their children, if you're worried about your children, that can hold your children in that behavioral pattern. So
yeah,
releasing your own emotions, fears, anxieties around whatever your child's dealing with can
yeah,
help them to heal as well.
yeah. And I will always encourage a parent that when you have a teenager is to, and I speak from my experience, always see that in that teenager as for the here and now. Do not try to do what your parents did.
Yeah. It's a
I put
different
my
world
hand
now.
up. I put
Yeah.
my hand up for that. Because
Yeah.
some of the things I did was, oh, my parents didn't do it. My parents did it like that, and I should do it that way. Different child, different generation,
Different environment,
different time.
different
All that.
society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So are we going to do maybe a couple of techniques for maybe just so it's there, if a teenager looked at it or a parent looked at it, just maybe do one for exam stress.
Yes.
Let's do
Okay.
exam stress maybe.
All right. So
Okay.
obviously use your own child's name or whatever you want to do, or how. Okay, so we've got a big exam coming up, and say we've got a knot in our tummy when we
Yes.
think about that we haven't done enough study, and you know, we might let ourselves down and the parents down and the whole world down if we don't pass this exam. So just even though I'm really worried about sitting this exam,
I'm really worried about sitting this exam.
I don't think I've done enough work,
I don't think I've done enough work.
and I'm really worried about passing or failing this exam.
I'm really worried about passing or failing this exam.
And I'm willing to accept that I feel this way.
And I'm willing to accept that I feel this way.
Even though I've got this knot in my stomach.
Even though I've got this knot in my stomach.
And I feel like I might be sick.
And I feel like I might be sick.
Ooh. I'm so worried about this exam.
I'm so worried about this exam.
I'm just not good at this subject.
I'm not good at this subject.
Yeah. And I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway.
And I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I'm really worried about this exam.
Even though I'm really worried about this exam.
I'm not sure that I'm going to pass.
I'm not sure that I'm going to pass.
I don't know what's in the exam.
Don't know what's in the exam.
I don't know if I've covered the right material.
I don't know if I've covered the right material.
Choosing to be kind and gentle with myself anyway.
I'm choosing to be kind and gentle with myself anyway.
This knot in my stomach.
This knot in my stomach.
My stomach's in knots.
My stomach is in knots.
I'm so worried about this exam.
I'm so worried about this exam.
I just don't want to fail.
I just don't want to fail.
What if I fail?
What if I fail?
Maybe I will pass.
Maybe I will pass.
I'm just worried about this exam.
I'm just worried about this exam.
I have this knot in my stomach.
I have this knot in my stomach.
I'm so worried.
I'm so worried.
I feel sick.
I feel sick.
It's making me feel sick.
It's making me feel sick.
All of this worry.
All of this worry.
This knot in my stomach.
This knot in my stomach.
Maybe I can let this go.
Maybe I can let this go.
Maybe I will pass this exam.
Maybe I will pass this exam.
Maybe I have done enough work.
Maybe I have done enough work.
This knot in my stomach.
This knot in my stomach.
I'm so worried about this exam.
I'm so worried about this exam.
Just take a nice breath in and out. And then you would with the elder child, of course, you're taking a rating to see what level of intensity they've got on fear. And if that fear's still up there and that knot in their stomach's still strong, you simply just keep tapping on that until it comes down.
Yeah. Very good de-stressing mechanism, right?
Very good.
Yeah. And for parents or children that or young adults that are doing that, we measure it from 1 to 10, and if we feel like the knot is still like at an 8 or whatever, then we do it again, and then we process it and see how we feel.
The fear of an exam can actually, because you fear you're disengaging your frontal cortex.
Yes.
So that can stop your ability to learn and your ability to recall.
Yes, exactly.
So just by releasing that emotion opens up the opportunity for more brain function.
And that's really great, because it's two-pronged or more than one-pronged, really, because you're not, even though you do that, then you start to, because of the whole exercise, and you're opening up your mind, then you can start to relax and maybe get some ideas or and the yawning helps because it sends oxygen to the brain, and so you can get new ideas.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Just
that's good.
I'm clearing. I'm not writing an exam, but I'm clearing.
You could go sit an exam now, perhaps.
I could, yeah. I could.
Yeah. So it's like important for your teenager or whatever to be drinking the water, flushing out those hormones and things, those stress hormones. Body to process those.
Wonderful. Really wonderful. Anything else you want to tell us about this for this particular age group, Barb?
Yeah, just be mindful that they can be volatile. Yeah. So just encourage them to do it and have a go at it. It's the best thing you can do. And,
empowerment. That's what what it's giving them, a technique that will empower them. They can just go away quietly and do it somewhere where no one is around, when no one's around as well, if they're in school or whatever.
And of course you've got those gentle sort of discrete techniques too, so that if they were sitting there in that exam and they felt a spike in fear or anxiety, they can sit there and squeeze their fingers and take a breath in and out just to calm themselves. Or tap on the fingers, or just hold the point and breathe in and out. And then in that exam, that then calms their nervous system and their brain, and they'll be able to focus again.
It's so easy, because it doesn't even have to attract attention of anything or anyone, especially if you're worried about what your friend is going to say. Just sitting there and calming yourself down. It doesn't even look like you're doing anything dodgy in the exam, because all you're doing is sitting there and you're like.
Well, there's a thing called imaginary tapping. So you can imagine that you're tapping on the point. It has the same effect.
Yes.
But the brain doesn't know the difference between real and imaginary.
Yep.
So they can just sit there and imagine that they're tapping on,
Yep. Really good technique. So, Bob, that's it. We are going to say goodbye to everybody and catch them another time. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Rose. Lovely to see you.
Yes, you too. We'll catch up next time. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.